It's easy in some ways to develop a lot of programs in the church that address various needs that people might have. But the greatest need that people have is to know God. The greatest need that people have is to be conformed to the image of Christ. And the way that happens is through God's Word, as we read it and study it. I think to be rooted in God's Word, we got to know it. We have to be reading it daily. I can't believe how many times I meet Christians who do not have a daily habit of spending time in God's Word. So if we're going to be rooted in God's Word, the very first thing we have to do is build a habit of reading and meditating on God's Word. The psalmist says, I've hidden God's Word in my heart that I might not sin against thee. If we're going to hide God's Word in our heart, we have to know it. We have to be familiar with it. So I would want to first encourage any Christian to establish a regular reading plan in God's Word. There are a lot of them out there. You can go on the internet and find a lot of good different reading plans and just make it your daily habit to be in God's Word. For churches, I think it's so important that churches are building their ministry around the Word. Our ministry as churches should be Word-centered and Word-driven. A lot of churches feel pressure to do a lot of programs, a lot of activities, all sorts of things, maybe social service projects, and a lot of those things can be good. But at the very heart of a church's life and ministry should be the preaching and teaching and reading and studying of God's Word. For us, that starts on a Sunday. We gather for worship on the Lord's Day, and at the very center of our service is a sermon. We all sit together and listen to God's Word explained either by me or one of the other pastors on our church's staff. But it doesn't stop with the sermon. That's where it starts. The rest of the week, our church's ministry is largely centered around people gathering around God's Word. We have small group Bible studies around the city, and that's where people are gathering in each other's homes to study God's Word. We have a women's ministry that meets once a week. They're gathering to study God's Word together. People are meeting up one-on-one around the city over lunch or coffee, and they're studying God's Word together. I'm always looking for opportunities to bring people together around the study of God's Word. It's easy in some ways to develop a lot of programs in the church that address various needs that people might have. But the greatest need that people have is to know God. The greatest need that people have is to be conformed to the image of Christ. And the way that happens is through God's Word, as we read it and study it.